Hello, this is part two of the Universal Math Placement exam. So we're just going to continue off the second part. Okay, so question two, find the zeros um, of this polynomial x minus 3, x squared minus 36, and x plus 4. So when they say find the zeros or find the solutions, they literally mean one thing, the x-intercepts. The good news is they already have it. They already have this polynomial in the most factored form. So, well, is it? No. I mean, it is factored, but is it the most factored? So what you could go ahead and set y to 0 and then try to factor this even more if you can. So x minus 3 can't be factored, so just write that out. X squared minus 36. Yes, that can be factored. That is a perfect square, and that factors out as x plus 6 times x minus 6. Okay, this x plus 4 can't be factored, and then solve for x. So as you can see, x is 3, x is going to be negative 6, x is going to be positive 6, and x equals negative 4. So I kind of did it in my head, but what I'm really doing is setting each parentheses to 0, right? So I'm setting x minus 3 to 0, x plus 6 equals 0, x minus 6 equals 0, and then x plus 4 equals 0, right? And then I just go ahead and solve for x. So these are my x values. So it's positive 3, negative 6, positive 6, and negative 4. Is that A? Yeah, positive 3, negative 4, yes. Positive 6, yes. And negative 6, yes. Okay, so letter A. Question 23, solve this equation. So the good news is there's a left and then there's a right. And when you only have two sides, you can just cross multiply. If you have more than two sides, you gotta get rid of the fraction by multiplying all sides by the LCD. So I'm just gonna cross multiply. So what's one times this whole thing? It's basically itself, 7x squared plus 32 plus y. And then it's gonna be, this one is x times 7x minus 4. Okay. Then on the right, roll this out. So this is gonna be 7x squared. X times negative 4 is negative 4x. And then on the left, it is 7x squared plus 32 plus y. So if you look at all the choices, they want you to solve for y, right? So I think it's best to move this whole thing to the right. So I'm going to subtract 7x squared, subtract 32. So this cancels. We're left with negative 4x and negative 32. A. Okay, this one, what is the least common denominator of these two things? So this is one thing and this is one thing. So you have 7x squared y 5 z cubed and 3x5 y squared 7 z to the 7. So when they say least common denominator, what you need to know is, I think you picked the one with the highest power. Let me double check. One second, I just want to double check. I want to give you one. So, right. Yes, so with the least common denominator, you pick the one with the highest power. So let's start with our letters x. We have an x squared and an x5. So you pick the one with the highest power, x5, right? Okay, so what about the y's? We have a y5 and a y2. You pick the highest one, so you're gonna pick y5. And then what about the z's? We have a z cubed and a z7, so you're gonna obviously pick z to the 7th. And then with the constant, you just multiply them out. our constant is 7 and our constant is 3. So to find the least common denominator, you just multiply them out. 7 times 3 is 21. Okay, so LCD, you pick the one with the highest power and then multiply the constant. So it's 21x5, y5, z7. So does that gonna be, I think it's C. 21x5, y5, z7. Z. Convert, so here's a trig problem. Convert pi over 5 to degrees. So all you to convert, this is a radian, and they want you in degrees. So how do you convert a radian to degree? All you got to do is replace, do you see that pi icon? Replace that with 180 and then reduce if possible. That's it. So replace this pi with 180 and then it's divided by 5 and then does 180 over 5 come out evenly? Maybe. Yes, 36 degrees. That's all you got to do. So convert radians degree, just replace pi icon with 180 and then reduce. Okay, question 26. It's a word problem. Ramen reports the number of clients that request services during the first 4 days of the week. If the number of the clients that request services on Friday is generally 25% of the total number of clients that arrive on Wednesday and Thursday, how many clients are there on Friday? So what they're saying, they want to know how much clients there will be on Friday, and Friday is 25% of the total numbers of, what is it, Wednesday and Thursday. Okay. So how many people are there on Wednesday? It looks like 5. And then how many people are there on Thursday? It looks like 3. So 5 plus 3 is 8. And then you take 25% of 8, and then that will give you how much clients on Friday. So 25% as a decimal would be 0.25 times by 8. That is 2. So there will be 2 clients on Friday. Determine the angle of theta given of these two triangles. So did you know that these two right triangles or these two triangles are similar? They're not congruent, they are similar. And how do I know they're similar? Is because they have that all the angles are congruent. So you see this tick mark? That means this tick mark is congruent with this tick mark. And then do you see these two tick marks? That means that this, wait, no, sorry, I take that back. All sides are the same. That makes it similar. So in a similar triangle, all angles are congruent. So how do I know these two triangles have the same side length? Because you look at the tick marks. This has 2, this has 2, and then this has 3 tick marks, this has 3 tick marks. So all the sides are the same. That means they are similar. In a similar triangle, all angles are the same. So we're trying to figure out what this angle is. I could just figure out what this angle is, and that'll give us your theta. So in this triangle right here, they have 2 angles already given. You have a 90, you have a 6.6. So 90 plus 6.6 plus theta is equal to 180. So 90 plus 6.6 is 96.6. 6.6. 83.4. Question 28. Solve the equation. We have a log base 2 of x plus 3 equals 4. What they want you to do is you have it in log form and they want it in power form. That's the only way you're going to solve for x. So you got to put it in this form. A to the y equals x. Power form. So a is your base, x, your y is always on the right or left side of the equal sign, and your x is like near the log or the parentheses. So let's label what we have. So our a is our base, so our base is 2, right? See this 2, that's our base. My y is always on the right or left side of the equal sign, so my y is going to be 4. And my x is always near the log or the parentheses, so our x is x plus 3. Okay, so once you know that, put it in the power form, a to the y equals x, and my a is 2, my y is 4, and my x is x plus 3. Okay, so 2 to the 4th is 16. Subtract 3 from both sides, we get 16 minus 3 is 13. Letter C. 29, convert the following to exponential. So 29 is just like a 28. You got to put it in power form, a to the y equals x. So my base, I don't see a base. So what happens if you don't see a number here? It's automatically 10. My y is the left or the right side of the equal sign, so my y is x squared. And my x is always near the log or in the parentheses, so it'd be x plus 1. So put it in the power form, a is 10, y is x squared, and then x is x plus 1. And what they want you to do is solve for x. So all you got to do is solve for x is move this one to the left. So x is, don't worry, 10, you just leave it this 10 to the x squared, just leave it as it is. So it's 10 x squared, 10 raised to the x squared minus 1. So which will that be? Is that the first one? 10 raised to the x squared minus 1? Yes. Find the amplitude and the period of this graph. So we have this sine graph 3 sine 4x. So the amplitude is the absolute value of A. So it's right next to the sine or cosine. So my amplitude is 3 because the absolute value is 3. Now the period for a sine or cosine is 2 pi over b. And my b is always the number in front of x. So my b is 4. And then 2 pi over 4 can be reduced by 2. So that would be pi over 2. So my period is pi over 2. And my amplitude is 3. So which one will that be? Amplitude equals 3. Period is pi over 2. C, right? Amplitude is 3. And period is pi over 2. Question 31. It's another, this is another order of operation. So you're going to use pandas. And I don't like this slanted. I'm going to make it horizontal. So this is 4 times 3 plus 2 cubed minus 32. I'm going to make it completely horizontal like this. And let's see, do we have parentheses? Yes, we have a parentheses here, so do that first. So what's, oh, this is a plus, sorry. So what's 3 plus 2? 5. And then bring down what you haven't done. So do not do it all at once, just do it one at a time. Okay, parentheses to that. Do we have an exponent? Yes. 5 to the third. So it's 4 times 5 to the third, which is 125. And then we also have another power, 2 to the fourth, which is 16. Okay, we did that. Do we have a multiplication? Yes. 4 times 125 is 500. Do we have a division? Yes. The 32 over 16, which is 2. So 500 minus 2 is 498. B. Question 32. According to the FDIC, the average savings account interest rate in 2024 is 0.47%. If you place X dollars in a saving account, the total sum S available after N years will be represented by the equation below. Say you put 10,000 in a savings account. How much would you gain after 5 years, round to the nearest dollar? So what you got to do is let's kind of label our variables. Um, what is X? Or what is N? N is your years, and I believe X would be your amount. So I think our X is going to be 10,000, and then our N is 5. So put that into that equation. So N is 5, and X is 10,000. And you get a fairly large number. I get not too large. It's like 10,237.21. So you don't see our answer because they want to know how much would you have gained after 5 years. This is your final amount. So what you got to do is subtract this from your original amount, 10,000. And when you do that, 1, 2, 3, 4, you get 237.2. So 237. So that's how much you gain. So this is a 237. So letter A. Question 33, find the cube root of 64. Now, I know the cube root of 64 is not perfect. Is there a number times itself 3 times gives you 64? Oh, it is perfect, actually. So, the cube root of 64 is perfect. Can you come up with a number that times itself 3 times gives you 64? Yes, 4 times 4 times 4. So the cube root of 64 is 4. Okay, so there's no other simplification. Thirty-four, according to the graph below, what is the average number of daily cups of coffee consumed by this group of individuals? So how do you take the average in general? You just add the total amount divided by the amount, right? So we kind of have to be careful. When I did this one, I kind of made a mistake. So How do you do this one? I'll show you. Oh yes, now okay. So here I'll show you. So yeah, I kind of made a mistake when I first did this one. So how many people are there for a number for ones? There's a total of four ones. So you could say 1 plus 1, or really you could say 1 times 4, right? And then how many people are there for 2 cups? There's 2 of 3, so 3. So 2 times 3. And then what about how many people are there for 3 cups? There's two of them, right? 3 times 2. And then how many cups are there for 4? So 4 times 1. And then you divide it by the total amount of people. So there was a total of 10, right? Why isn't there four? Like, no, there's 10 total cups. So this is 4. This is 6, 6. Yeah, there's 10. I think that was, yeah. So on the top, what's 4 plus 6? What's 4 plus 6 plus 6 plus 4? That is 17 divided by 10, so it's 17 cups per day. Okay, so it's letter A. Question 35. You decide to run an experiment to identify the effects of road conditions on car degradation and measure the following variables: pothole density, car rust, salt concentration, frequency of necessary repairs, and the temperature. Which of these are independent variables? So independent variables are independent. They do not, independent I believe, are the x values, right? The y values are dependent. They rely on the x. So these are just independent. So what do you think? I think the independent is going to be letter D. They can stand on their own. We have D is pothole density, salt concentration, temperature, right? These are all independent. They depend on themselves. So it's going to be D. Pothole density, salt concentration, and temperature. Okay, 36. Here we have a right triangle and we got to find cosine theta. So I know it's a right triangle because it has that box symbol and they want to know what cosine theta. So you can use the, what is it? The SOHCAHTOA thing. And they're saying that cosine theta is adjacent over hypotenuse. Okay, here's theta. The adjacent side is B. The hypotenuse is A. So it's B over A. Yeah, letter B. Okay, so 37 on this unit circle. What is the x and y coordinates of the angle of 60? So this is something you must know. Here's 60 in the unit circle. What are the coordinates? Well, this is how I kind of remember it. I know that 30, this is something you have to know. 30 degrees has an x coordinate of radical 3/2 and a y coordinate of 1/2. And then I know that 30 is they're the opposite. So 60 is a reciprocal of 30, so it has an x coordinate of 1/2 and a y coordinate of radical 3/2. Okay, so it is B, x coordinate 1/2 and y coordinate radical 3/2. That's just something you have to memorize. Find the domain and range of this of the function f of x equals 2 raised to the x plus 1. So what kind f of x equals e raised to the 2x plus 1. So what kind of graph is this? This is an exponential function. And what do an exponential function look like? It can be a growth. So this is a growth like this. It can also be a decay like this. So yes, so what do we have? So we know this is an exponential, and I also know it's a growth. Why do I know it's a growth? Because the base. You look at the base. The base is E, right? It's this number, and E is actually a number. It's like 2.7. So in order for it to be a growth, the base has to be greater than that. And what else do I know about this graph? That this 2x plus 1 has a horizontal shift. So you set 2x plus 1 to 0. It's all correct. So subtract 1. Let's go 2. So you have a horizontal shift of -1/2. So basically, you're shifting this graph -1/2 to the left. So that doesn't really change it. Um, by the way, the domain of an exponential, doesn't matter if it's a growth or decay, is all real numbers unless you have a vertical shift. No, actually, it's actually always going to be all real numbers. Yeah, I was thinking of the range. But the domain of an exponential, doesn't matter if it's a growth or a decay, is all real numbers. Now, the range is a little bit different. It's not all real numbers. It's related to your horizontal asymptote. So you usually have a horizontal asymptote at y equals 0 in a exponential, right? So you have a little horizontal dash line like this, unless there's a vertical shift. If you have a vertical shift, that is your new horizontal asymptote. So if you look in our graph, do we have a vertical shift? No, we do not. We don't have a plus k, right? We don't have a plus 7 here, right? So what that means is our horizontal asymptote is at y equals 0. So what that means is that our y values can never go below our 0. So that means our range for this graph is from 0 to infinity. And our domain, it doesn't matter if it's a growth or a decay, is all real numbers. Okay, so is it A? No. Is it B? No. Is it C? Domain is all real numbers, range is from 0 to infinity? Yeah, I'm going to say C. Okay, so that is a little introduction of exponential functions, exponential graphs. Let's see, 39, almost there. Given the ordinary side, six-sided die, what is the probability of you rolling 1 or 5? So the keyword is or, and I believe if you're dealing with an or probability, I think you have to do an addition. Yes. So whenever you hear the word or in a probability, it means addition. So imagine you have, so what is the probability of rolling 1? So in a six-sided die here, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the total probability is for one is so total outcome is 6, and then what is the probability one? You only have one chance. The same thing with a 5. The total possibility is 6, but for just 5 alone, it's just once. So what's 1 6 plus 1 6? 2 6, and then reduce this by 2, so that would be 1 over 3. So our probability is 1/3. Okay, last one. 40, you launch a banana high up in the air and its altitude in meters is given by as a function of time by the equation below. What's the maximum height of the banana? So when you're dealing with quadratic, you have to figure out max and min. And so yeah, you got to find the vertex. Whenever they hear the word max or min, you're dealing with vertex. Question is, are you trying to find the x or the y value? So they're asking for the maximum height. That's automatically the y value. So what we got to do is find the y value of the vertex. But in order to do that, we must find the x value of the vertex. So how do you find the x value of the vertex? You got to use this equation. Opposite b over 2a. Yes, opposite b over 2a. So what is my a, b, and c? So my a is negative 9.8. My b is 40. And my c is 2. But I don't think we'll need c. So the opposite of b is negative 40 over 2 times negative 9.8. And then 2 times negative 9.8 is negative 19.6. So what's 40 divided by 19.6? It's like, let's just use the exact value. So 40, positive 40 over 19.6. Then what I'm going to do to find the y value vertex, just put this into your equation. That's it. Okay, so put that in the calculator. I get 42.8. 42.816. If you run into the nearest tens, it's going to be 42.812. So it is letter C. Okay. So this is a vertex prob. This is a vertex maximum min problem. So yeah, C. Okay, so I'm going to stop here. This is Universal Math Placement Exam 1.